That's okay.
Hey, Rosie. So we are going to talk about the conflict in Russia and Ukraine that began on February 24th, and that has been going on until now. And today is April 6th, 2022, and this is for our class International Organisms, and we are Team 2. So I'm from Mexico City, and you can introduce yourself.
I'm from China.
Okay.
I'm Yunjie Deng. I'm from China, Changchun.
Sounds good. Well, maybe you can give us a little bit of your perspective of where this conflict is heading and what are the international consequences and like how are the international organisms, dealing with this situation, and then I can give my my view.
Okay. Here in China, most of people do not think that Russia invade Ukraine, and most people here think that Russia did this is to protect their security and to protect their people because the USA and the European Union behind the Ukraine government is doing some bad things and want to other biological treatment or treatment here in Ukraine, so they're afraid of this. So, so Putin put this war forward to protect their security and for their people. So here, also Chinese government do not do the real support for Russia. We still do the economic business still go on because we already signed the assignment for the treaty, and also between the war, I see that the UNESCO take part in to protect the cultural heritage in Ukraine and also with other organizations, agencies, with the support of the Hague Convention, and they do some initiatives to help Ukraine to protect their historical buildings and to monitoring the damage. That's all.
Thank you, Rosie. Well, I'm from Mexico, and I think that this conflict has shattered the international community and the international system because it's been one of the most, after Second World War, this is the most horrific war in Europe that has occurred ever since. And up until now, there have been several war crimes that have been committed in Ukraine, and a lot of civilians have been killed. Europe has been limited in the regarding economic sanctions because Russia is responsible of providing most of the gas and energy for Europe through the Nord Stream 2 gas pipeline. Therefore, Germany has been one of the ones that were more reluctant regarding economic sanctions because they didn't want their energy to be cut from Russia. The US has provided a lot of monetary funding, but they have also said and reiterated that they would not go to war with Russia for Ukraine, but that they would go to war in case Russia were to attack any of the NATO countries that are part of NATO. So we are seeing an international community that in a way is providing certain safety for Ukraine, certain they're trying to implement economic sanctions, they're trying to supply humanitarian need and all of these things. But when it comes to fighting, we have seen that Ukraine is on its own, and they have been the ones responsible of defending their country. And the international community, like the UN and all the international organisms that are going on in the world, well, we're seeing a response that is very, in a way, soft, because, well, yes, the UN Security Council has said, well, we don't agree with Russia attacking Ukraine, but at the same time, they're like they're not doing anything very tangible, and the war continues to go on. So I think that this conflict has shown us citizens and us world that in the end, diplomacy and international organisms and countries like the US and the European Union have not been able to limit the power of Russia in Ukraine, because the war continues to go on, people continue to die. And, well, yes, people are implementing economic sanctions, and the UN is trying to send humanitarian help, or is trying to send economic funds for Ukraine. But in the end, the war crimes continue to occur. And the people in the end that are the ones suffering the most are the people of Ukraine that continue dying and that have no fault for what their governments decide to do. So that's what I believe. And I think that this conflict will just continue for maybe, I hope, not so long. But I think that more lives are going to be lost, and the economy is going to continue to suffer, and Russia is just going to get more excluded from the international community, because that is one thing that Russia is. But I also think that it's very funny that, well, the US is in a way neglecting certain alliances that they used to have, like the ones they have with China or with the Middle East. And we're seeing a community that it's in a way divided in either they support Russia or do they support the US and the European Union. So I think this conflict is just showing us that the international order, or the way we thought the international system worked, is not the way that it actually works. And that in the end, countries will support the country that gives them more economic benefit, and maybe not the one that is the most favorable for the humanity. So that's what I think. And I don't know, Rosie, do you want to say anything else?
In my opinion, I think the reason why European Union do not want to get into this war, because actually Ukraine wasn't a member of European Union, so European Union will not do any like so much military assistance to Ukraine, because if they do send like a lot of soldiers to the landfill, it will like really like expand the war field. So that's something that also the European Union don't want to see. And I think US just hide between hide after behind the European Union and the Ukraine. Also he don't also USA do not want to take charge of it, but actually he take charge of this whole situation. So that's why US just send the capital, send the weapons that like they sold to the Ukraine government. So that's why the war is continued, because no organizations have the right to take charge of the war field, take charge of the like voice. And also I think in the media China here, we've heard that the Ukraine government all of the authorities. And some of the authorities come from America, USA. And then after the new president of Ukraine is win the selection. Some Americans to just come to Ukraine and be the top authorities of the country, and also some top of the authorities in Ukraine was like comedian. Like they led the comedians to rule the whole country. It's because of their like economic situation, so all be wrong or part of the country. So that's the people was in not a good situation. So I think that's the whole reason why the situation was going to like worse and worse, and then war begins. So I think maybe like they can blame something, but not always Russia, because I think the Ukraine government is the one that they need to blame.
Well, I think this is very interesting to like see the other perspective of the world, literally, because you're the other side. And I think that in the end, governments are the ones that should be held responsible. And then one thing that I know for sure is that either the IOM, that's the international organism that's in charge of migration, has a very large mission in providing safety for all the refugees that are gonna flee Ukraine or even Russia, you know? And I feel that in the end, we need to secure as our first priority the lives of the civilians that have that should not be charged for the crimes that are not theirs. And in the end, I do believe that you should be able to live in your country safely and not be afraid that another country is going to intervene. And even in war, there are laws, and there are laws for wars, and if they have been broken, they should be charged. And in the end, the international community, the governments, the countries, and us, the people, we need to stand in the side of peace when it comes to history. And that's the best thing that we can do. And I feel like if we're in the 21st century, diplomacy should be our first tool and war should be our last tool. So the fact that we have resolved to war as a tool to resolve things means that we still have a long way to go. But thank you, Rosie. I think we're good. Do you want to say something else?
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you for attending the meeting. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Have a good day.